Hey, welcome everybody, and welcome to our weekly show. We call it Three Broke Guys Handicapping. It's where we review one of the top racing cars from around the United States. Now, tonight, we don't have the best racing car in the United States, but rather we have the three best cars in the USA. Now, if you watch us, you know we normally work together to come up with a consensus pick-4 ticket, consensus pick-4 ticket. And it's usually from one of the best racing venues in the United States. But once a year, we go our own way. We handicap three different racetracks in three different parts of the country in what I like to call pick-4 wars. Now, we are still on the Kentucky Derby trail, of course, and it's now week number 14 of the racing season. In a second here, I will introduce our analysts along with the track and ask them to tell you a little bit about the track they're going to cover tonight. But for everybody out there, my name is Rich Sharp, and this week I'm covering Santa Anita Racetrack in Arcadia, California. That pick-4 starts in race number 8, and it ends in race number 11. There are 3 stakes in that sequence, and there is a $1 million guarantee in the late pick-4. For a brief weather update from Arcadia, California, I will tell you that the forecast calls for cloudy skies early that are going to become partly cloudy later in the day. And just please note that there is a 20% chance of rain in the forecast again here in Southern California. Each week, I am always joined by my friends and the racing analysts. First up, Ray Torado, who joins us from Staten Island, New York. Ray, first of all, how are you doing? And make sure you tell the folks a little bit about your pick-4 sequence for tonight, and how's the weather in New York?
Oh, how you doing? Today I'll be doing Aqueduct, and my pick 4 has a few good stake races. We got the Wood Memorial, we got the Carter, and the Gazelle, and we ended up with a nice maiden race. And Aqueduct is in Ozone Park, New York. It's right by the bay, so you can get some winds and stuff. It's a mile-and-a-half track. They're back on the main track, and we're gonna have sunny, 57 degrees. So for people who are gonna go out there, a light jacket would be nice. It'll probably start a little bit cool because we're all by the water, but it'll be a nice sunny day. Actually, it'll be a nice day for the wood.
All righty. Thank you, Ray. And each week he joins us from his home in Temecula, California. Now, Joe, Ray got to stay in his backyard of Aqueduct there, and of course I'm kind of in my backyard here at Santa Anita. But Joe English, where did the racing gods send you this week, and which pick-4 are you reviewing?
Oh boy, I'm lucky, Rich. I got sent to Keeneland in Lexington, Kentucky. Pick-4 is $400,000 guaranteed sequence. Starts with race 7, the Shakertown, which is a grade 2, followed up by 3 grade 1s, all going over a distance of. Actually, no, I'm sorry. The Madison is a 7-furlong sprint. The Ashland is for 3-year-old fillies going a mile and a 16th, and then it's followed by the Bluegrass going a mile and an 8th for 3-year-olds on the Kentucky Derby Trail. Never been to Keeneland, don't know much about it weather-wise. I did check the weather forecast as of 5 minutes ago, and the forecast is for between 56 and 62 degrees for post time and throughout the day. And there is as Southern California fans usually like to say, 0% chance of rain in the forecast at Keeneland tomorrow. Should be a beautiful day. And the racing around the country has been great, and I'm really excited about this show. Let's get it going.
That's nice.
Awesome. All right. So for everybody, just to keep it a reminder, because again, normally we work together as a team. This week, it's what I like to call pick-4 war. So we are working a little bit on our own. Joe is covering Lexington, Kentucky. He's got the Bluegrass Stakes in his pick-4. You've got Ray out there. He's in New York, and Ray is covering the Aqueduct pick-4 that includes the Wood. And of course, I am over here in Santa Anita covering Arcadia, California. So just keep that in mind. Instead of each of us going back and forth between all the legs together, we're going to be covering individual legs, but you will see us go one at a time. So Joe will cover leg 1 from Kentucky. Ray will cover leg 1 from Aqueduct, and I will cover leg 1 from Santa Anita, and we will continue until we are each done with our pick-4. I am going to do my very best to keep score us up on the screen. I will flip you back and forth occasionally to our scorecard to make sure I've got all the flags and all the saddle blankets covered correctly. Just as a reminder for everybody, last week was Gulfstream Park in Florida. Let me come back here so I can see you guys. I like to at least look at the folks for a little bit. Last week was Gulfstream Park in Florida. Once again, we were 3 for 3 going into the feature, which was the Florida Derby. Unfortunately, as we had the week before, Gunnevera continued a trend of disappointing Derby favorites. He finished our pick-4 dreams by not winning. 3 out of 4 did push our hit percentage up to 70% for the year. So we are currently running at about 70% for the year on those. Gentlemen, the gates are locked and loaded. The outriders are clear, and the starter is ready to pop. Well, 3 different gates at 3 different locations. It's Pick-4 post time.
All right, let's go.
I'm juiced. Let's go. Let's do it.
Joe English, take it away and take us down to Lexington, Kentucky.
All right. Well, again, actually, what I did not mention in the earlier segment is that the post time for the 7th race, which is the beginning of the Pick-4 sequence at Keeneland, is 4:28 Eastern time, 1:28 Pacific time. It starts with the Shakertown 5.5 furlongs on the Keeneland turf course, and this was an interesting race. I decided to go with as my top choice the number 3 horse, the Green Mask. He's been fairly consistent. He did all the dirty work in the Colonel Power, and he got beat by Hoagie, who I will discuss shortly. He drew a nice cozy spot, should get another ground-saving trip. His form is terrific, and he's got 2 drills at Keeneland, including the one on April 2nd, best of 35, 4 furlongs and 48 seconds flat. The only thing I'm concerned about is that there's a little speed in this race, and he may suffer the same fate that he did at at Fairgrounds today at Keeneland. But again, I think he's the most consistent of the runners in this race, so I'm gonna take him on top. And at 4-1, he's not the morning line favorite. My second choice is the morning line favorite, and that's the number 2 Rainbow Air. I actually loved this horse last time at Gulfstream, and if I remember right, Rich actually thought the horse got up to beat Power Alert, but it didn't happen that day. Jason Service is really good with 5 furlong horses, as I mentioned originally. And that the race that he comes out of was alive. He long on value, went over to Dubai and ran second in the outclose on turf over there. I'm not sure I guess it was a turf race. I don't exactly remember, so I apologize for that. And the horse that finished 4th, who was the pace setter, Pay Any Price, actually set the track record for 5 furlongs in 53 and change the next time out in a minor stake at Gulfstream Park. So obviously that heat is live. And again, because there's a little bit of speed, I think this race is going to set up for a closer, and I have a feeling Green Mask may get the same trip. I'm just hoping that he can hold Rainbow Air safe, sort of like Power Alert did. My other choice in this race is the 7 Hoagie, and Hoagie is the one who beat Green Mask last time out. He does pick up a couple of pounds, so he's at even weights today with Green Mask. The last 2 have been terrific, but the problem is it doesn't seem as if he ever really puts a lot of races together consistently. Again, in the money finish is great. The figure in the turf spirit at Houston is what really has me like, okay, well, I mean, the horse came home flying. I actually had a chance to watch the race, and partly Mocha's in this spot, but he seems a little bit below that. So I'm wondering if he is going to be able to put 2 together. Florian Giroux is obviously a great jockey. He's been on board, 16-time winner, 31 times in the money out of 41 starts. So you can't really fault him. Again, he's not working locally. He's going to be somebody who needs pace. Again, but I just think Rainbow Air is a little bit better than him at this time. But again, I went Green Mask on top more for consistency, and because he's going to be the one that they have to run down at the lane, in the lane. And if for whatever reason there's traffic trouble for any of the closers, Green Mask should get the job done. So I went 3, 2, 7. All 3 of them basically would have to be included on my top line and included in my Pick-4 ticket.
All right, and we are moving all the way across the country over to Mr. Torado in Aqueduct, and I've got you down there, Joe, with the 3, the 2, and the 7. At the end of this round, I'll show you what our picks are for leg 1. So just make sure I've got them correctly for you.
Will do.
Mr. Torado. Okay, here we are at Aqueduct. Race 9 starts out Pick-4. Post time is 5:15. My Eastern Standard Time. Eastern Daylight Time, actually. 5:15. And the first race is going to be race number 9. It's the Carter Handicap. It's a grade 1. Going 7 furlongs for 4-year-olds and up. And we have a horse here who should be odds on. And I'm going to go with him. His name is number 8, Unified. And he's undefeated sprinting around 1 turn. He actually won last year's Bayshore. very comfortably on the main track. He's 1 for 1 on the main track for Jimmy Jerkins, Centennial Farms. Castellano picks up the mount for Jose Ortiz. This horse is going to be very tough. He's got speed, and the distance should not be a problem. No chalky, but I'm going to go with him. He's my top choice. I do have a nice price horse here, number 4, Awesome Banner. He could be an upsetter here. He did lead the carryback field till he faded late. He's been a factor in the Florida bred races. He does attract Johnny Velasquez for his new trainer, Ken Decker. He's previously trained by Mark Cassie. This horse can actually stay off the lead and follow the favorite. So, I mean, if anything happens to Unified, he gets tired or something, Austin Banner could be in the picture. My third choice in this first leg was number 2, Tommy Macho. He's racing for the Paul Pompa Stables and Top Pletcher. He hasn't run 7 furlongs in his career, but he did chase Sharp Azteca in the mile at Gulfstream. And he seems to be more suitable for a mile or 9 furlongs, middle distance. But, it's a grade 1. You take a chance. I mean, this horse has been running well in some good races. I think basically in grade 2, so they're looking for like a little grade 1 here. And this could be a prep for the Met Mile. So depending on how he runs, a good result might put him there on Belmont Day for the Met Mile. So those are my choices. Go with the 8, the 4, and the 2 in my first leg. The Carter Handicap at Aqueduct. All right, Rich, out to Santa Anita, and your first leg of the Pick-4.
All right, thank you very much, Ray. I got you down there with the 8, the 4, and the 2, and I believe the 8 was your top pick on that last week.
Yeah.
Right. Here I come, and let me go ahead. I will bring up my racing form here for Santa Anita. Hang on one second, folks. Okay, let's get that share feature working for us. All right, and I have race number 8. The approximate post time is 6:30 p.m. Eastern time. And as a matter of fact, I heard today on TVG, so 6:30 p.m. is what they still have on DRF, but I heard on TVG today that is being moved back to, I believe that is 7:10 p.m. Eastern, because they're teeing off the Santa Anita Derby at 4:10 p.m. Pacific time. So 7:10 p.m. Eastern. There is a $1 million guarantee in the Pick-4. First up, they are going 1 1/8 on the main track. It is the Santa Anita Derby, a grade 1 affair. Purse is $1 million for 3-year-olds only. 13 starters, and your morning line favorite is in post number 9. It's Iliad, trained by Doug O'Neill and ridden by Flavian Pratt, and he is 7-2 on the Santa Anita morning line. All right, folks, the good news is this race is very easy to narrow if you just bet trainers. Take all the O'Neills and all the Bafferts and throw in John Sheriffs, and you should be fine. But the bad news is that I've only narrowed it down to a field of 9 by using just those trainers. So, you know me, I'm going to try and be as safe as I can. And if I'm not mistaken, in this one, I decided to use kind of like a cuppa. So I've got Bafferts, I've got O'Neills, and I've got Sheriffs everywhere I look. And if I'm not mistaken, the check mark ends up on the chalk here, which is Doug O'Neill's Iliad. He's got Flavian Pratt riding for him, and they are 27% together. Flavian looks like he is moving in on the riding title here for the spring-winter meet, if you like, for Santa Anita. That is a very prestigious title. Tyler Bays is kind of the only one that has a chance to catch him. And Doug O'Neill is right up there for the training title, although he's not going to get to Jerry Hollendorfer. So you've got a very solid combination there. You've got Iliad, who we've lamented it on this show throughout the winter, is what happened to California. The rain came in, and we just have no idea. It killed our 3-year-old crop, just like a twister coming into Iowa and killing their cornfield. So the crop out here has been a kind of a bummer crop. And if there has been one horse that you want to sit there and say is, well, he's been around the entire time, the entire year, and like that, he hasn't done anything spectacular so far, then that horse is Iliad. He's one of the divorce horses. Kaleem Shaw took him away from Bob Baffert, and he ended up with Doug O'Neill. He ran second to Mastery when Mastery got injured. It was Joe and I were there that day. It was a pretty daunting second. It wasn't like Mastery was sweating Iliad at any point. Okay, so he has beaten Battle of Midway before. He's beaten Kim Bear. His debut was against American Anthem. So he's the closest thing we have in California right now to an accomplished horse. And that's where my check mark ended up, just going strictly on the class and who he's faced and how well he's run. So my single Baffert that I would use here, Joe had talked about this earlier in the year. We're going to go ahead and go with the concept of forgiveness. Either American Anthem did like shipping, he did not like Oaklawn Park, but whatever it was, that was not the American Anthem that we all got to see and love out here in California. So go ahead and put in the 6 as well with your choices there. So I've got American Anthem. I have Iliad. I really thought about doing this. I wasn't sure of which of the John Sheriffs I was going to use. I do have a futures bet on Gormley, but that I couldn't care less about that at this point in time. I really was almost down to flipping a coin between Royal Mo and Gormley. I guess I went with Gormley one more time. I guess once bitten, twice shy. I don't know what 3 times is, but I'm going with Gormley. So I definitely have I believe it's the 9 is my top pick, and the 6 and the 8 would be on my pick 4 ticket as well. I do like Iliad as the top player there. And again, I would not leave out the Baffert and the Sheriffs. So let me see if I can fill in our scorecard real quick here. I've got 6 with 8. And I've got the 9. And I'm going to come back for just a moment here, and I will bring up the scorecard for our first round here in Pick-4 War. And let me make sure I got everybody correct. All right. In leg number 1, in Keeneland, Mr. English, your top pick was the 3, but on the top line, you've also got the 2 and the 7. So 3, 2, 7. Ray, I believe your top pick was the 8. You also have the 4 and the 2 on that top line.
Right.
And sticking with the spirit of 3, I guess, I have the 6 on top. And my other 2 picks are the 8 and the 9. So all 3 of us going 3 deep in the first leg. Looks good so far?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah.
Here we go. On to leg number 2 and back over to Joe in Lexington, Kentucky.
Rich, I really wish I were actually in Lexington, Kentucky. This race, race 8, is the Madison Stakes, grade 1 for fillies, going 7 furlongs. Old fillies and mares. Actually, I don't think it. I think it's 4-year-olds and up. I haven't really checked the conditions, but I know it's for older mares. This race to me set up with a lot of horses that like to be on the front end. So I decided to go against that and go with a closer. And as opposed to going with the favorites as I did in the first leg, I'm going with long shots here. I like the number 7, Wheatfield, Danny Pish, and Edgar Prado. Yes, those. I think the Pish name is maybe the first time we've mentioned him on the show. In the inside information, the horse had a very solid effort. She got stuck behind a tiring speed horse and had to lose ground going into the last turn, and it probably cost her the win. Again, going 7 furlongs, going over Gulfstream Park, which doesn't necessarily favor closers at any distance, much less 7 furlongs. This horse, I mean, like I said, there was a gallon effort that day, and to me, there are plenty of speed types to set it up for this horse, or at least plenty of speed types signed on for this race. And unlike others in this race, the horses won at different tracks: Fairgrounds, Remington Park, Evangeline Downs, and in different states. So I'm giving this horse the nod again, 12-1 on the morning line, as opposed to playing favorites. Like I said, I just think there's a lot of speed. Not sure how good it is. Not sure how fast it is early. I'm hoping it sets up for Wheatfield, an improving filly at the right time. And again, obviously, 7 furlongs was not the problem. The problem was that she got stuck in behind a tiring horse and couldn't get out in time to get up in a race that was featured Curlin's approval at Gulfstream. My second choice is another long shot, and this I like this horse because maybe if there's anybody who is the speed of the speed and anybody who can get away from it, it doesn't show it in the form, but the pace figures bear it out. It's the number 8, Ponder Lead for Richard Baltus, Southern California trainer, and Florent Giroux. Obviously gets a good jockey to come aboard. First time Giroux, which is obviously a factor. And I think, again, she's the most consistent of the speed types in this race. And I think she's going to sit a nice trip with an outside post. Last time she broke from the rail, didn't necessarily have the best break. I think she gets a better trip here. Maybe she can sit off of some of the speed and pounce in the third start off the layoff for this horse. And again, 15-1, I'll take those every day. My third choice, actually, I went kind of deep in here. Sorry, guys, it may be a little long. I went with the 5 High Ridge Road at 7-2. Linda Rice, if you don't know her, I know Mr. Torado does because she trains in the East Coast and in New York specifically. She's a very solid horsewoman. She loves this horse, likes elongated sprints, 2 graded wins or placings in the last 3 starts, including the grade 3 Go for One, and the grade 2 Barbara Fritchie, where she just got up to beat By the Moon and Close Fall Off, who's also in this spot. And my fourth choice in here, and unfortunately, I don't like her as much, but I have to give her the nod because I liked her early in the year, and that's the 4 Constellation, who's 4-1 for the aforementioned Jerry Hollendorfer and David Flores. She disappointed last time out. It's funny. I did a lot of work on this card, and I got a chance to watch the race that she lost to Pretty and Cool. And though the track was fast, it was raining during that race. So I'm going to give this horse the benefit of the doubt. Maybe the actual rain in the race had something to do with it. It was disappointing nonetheless. But what I'm hoping is that was a prep, given that she ran in the Phoenix States at Turf Paradise before she exploded and to win the La Brea 2 starts back. So I'm hoping maybe the Las Flores was a prep for this, and maybe that she wasn't fully cranked, and maybe today's really the day for her. And if you see those works at Los Alamitos, she's got 3 bullet works since that last race. So I'm thinking she's going to be forwardly placed again. Maybe Ponderly can get away from her, maybe not. But again, it's possible that she could be the best of these, given that Hollendorfer knows what he's doing, and maybe he set her up for this. So I went 7, 8, 5, 4 in that order in the Madison. Now I will send you over to Mr. Tirado, who is handling our Aqueduct Pick-4. Ray, what's the next race in the sequence at the Big A?
All right, leg 2 for me is actually the feature. It's the 750,000 Wood Memorial. It's a grade 2. It got downgraded a few years ago. It's for 3-year-olds. This is another race on the trail of the Kentucky Derby. It does give you 100 points for first, 40 points for second, 20 points for third, and 10 points for fourth. And they go on a 1.8 which is exactly 1 time around Aqueduct's track. So it's actually a 2-turn race. So they start around the finish, and they finish right there, same spot. So it's a little bit off, but still, it's just about 1.8. This race, kind of the track is it's a good race. It's not tremendous race. We do have Irish Warcry in here from he had won the Gulfstream Holy Bull. But I'm gonna go with a horse that's he's actually unproven, but he's very fast and he's running well, and that's number 3 Battalion Runner. He's a 3-year-old out of Unbridled Song, and you know what those horses have done lately. And arrogant. He's following the Plutcher pattern that we've seen throughout the shows that we've been having. Maiden win, optional claim and hours of 1, and just boom, right to stake race, and they've been running very well for Plutcher. So I'm gonna follow that one. And Battalion Runner, he's a big horse. He's got a lot of upside. He's out the damn Tappet mare. So yeah, I think this horse can run all day, and he's got the speed. And I think I'm actually gonna single him. He's 2 for 3 in his career. He's got solid works at Palm Meadows, and he could be the new shooter in the Derby field. That's how I feel. So I'm gonna single him. He's 2-1. I think he'd probably be like 6-5, 7-5, most likely. I just want to mention Motown. He's a Remsen winner on the track in November. He might be in his last. Poor performance in the Risen Star. And he attracted Castellano, and he could sit right behind Battalion Runner. So if anything happens, Motown could be right there. Irish Warcry did win the Holy Bull. I don't know what happened to him in his last race. I mean, he was promptly folded place, second by 2, and he just fell apart. I mean, finished 7th by 21 at 6-5 as a favorite. He just backed up. So I mean, unless you could forgive that race, and give him another shot. He's 7-2. Mirage a good jockey. He knows the track well. He'd be riding here in the wintertime. So I'm gonna single number 3, Battalion Runner, and that's for the purpose of my pick 4. Because I have other legs to go, and I like to spread them. So I'm gonna single Battalion Runner, number 3. All right, Rich, off to Santa Anita, and what's your next leg of the sequence?
All right, and I've got you down there, Ray, with a big single.
Mhm.
And just in case you need to back up, you got a 2 to back you up there, just in case there's a scratch or something like that.
Yeah. That's...
All right. All right, and let me get my Santa Anita forms back up here for you. Yeah, which race am I up to here? I am on race number 9. This is 1 mile on the turf. Oh, excuse me. You know what? And I apologize. Ray reminded me there that there are 100 Kentucky Derby points on the line for the Santa Anita Derby. And I admitted that, and I apologize. But I am on to race number 9. This is 1 mile on the turf. It is the Providencia Stakes. It's a grade 3. Purse is $150,000 for filly 3-year-olds only. 8 starters, and your morning line favorite is in post number 1. It's Surcat Sally, trained by Jerry Hollendorfer and ridden by Mike Smith, comes in as your 6-5 morning line favorite. All right, and this one to you. And this is where the handicapping started to come in. I was not sure on this particular race. I'm on the right racing form for you. As far as my my handicapping was concerned, if I was going to blow up the first race, that Santa Anita Derby, and try and play it smart here and single with the favorite, which is Surcat Sally, or if I needed a little bit of extra coverage, and in the end I chickened out, I couldn't see singling here, even though I really wanted to. This horse, Surcat Sally, Joe and I saw her. So we were there on March the 11th. We were there for the China Doll Stakes. And I remember that we both remarked on the fact that she looked very good, not only in the paddock, but on the track. So she hasn't done anything wrong so far in her career. She's 4 for 4. She's got the leading trainer here at the Southern California meet. That's the King, Jerry Hollendorfer. She's got one of the best jockeys in the world. That's Mike Smith. And when they combine together, they're 33% together. So this is a turf race, and she's 2 for 2 on the turf. She's beaten quite a couple of the top contenders, including Princess Hua and Beau Recall, and she handled them fairly easily. In the China Doll, it did not look like anybody was coming to get her, even though you see the distance closing down there. It looked like Mike Smith just saved it. So Jerry Hollendorfer has the best 3-year-old girl to horse on dirt. And that's Unique Bella, even though she went into the shelf. He's got one of the best 3-year-old girls on turf, and it's this horse called Surcat Sally. So I thought about doing what Ray had done and singling here and just going with the 1 only, and then just blowing up and using all 9 of them from the Santa Anita Derby in that first race. And then I chickened out because I so rarely single. All the way down here in the very bottom is the 8 horse, and this is emphatically for Thomas Proctor, has got Flavia and Pratt aboard. They're not necessarily a big-time combination. Proctor does not run a lot of horses out here in the West anymore, so he is 23% with his shippers. This is a horse that came from Delaware Downs and Laurel, and then took a little bit of layoff, and then came right back there at the fairgrounds and won again. So this is that scary new face from another place, the East Coast horses, if you like. Anything from the East Coast that's on turf is still just a little bit better than what we have, or a notch a little bit better than what we have out here on the West. And I am willing to go ahead and give a few shots here that it's going to be the 1, I believe, or it'll be the 8. So I'm going to go ahead and include emphatically in here. I felt like I was taking a risk because I really did think that I could single Surcat Sally and then go just a little bit deeper in that Santa Anita Derby. But I am only using 2 bullets here, and I am just going with the 1 and the 8. I will go ahead and fill out our scorecard here real quickly. And bring that up on screen for everybody. All right. All right, and so far, here we are. So in the first leg, Joe's got the 3, the 2, and the 7. The 3 is his top pick. In leg number 2, now he's got 7, 8, 5, 4. I believe the 7 was your top pick in that one.
Yes.
And Mr. Torado has come in leg 2 with a big solid single. In leg number 2, he's got battalion runner number 3. I can't argue with that. Everything that Todd Pletcher is sending out should be single these days. So, and in leg 2, I almost singled. I wanted to go with the single. I couldn't bear to do it though. And I ended up using 2, use the inside horse and the outside horse, just the 1 and the 8. And I think we are good. Moving along to leg 3, back to Joe. Keeneland, what do you got?
We got the grade 1 Ashland for 3-year-old fillies along the trail to the Kentucky Oaks. And to be honest, I had to make an executive decision here. Obviously, it's my own. I'm the only one who had any input on this. So obviously, I'm the CEO, CFO, and everything, every other title you can have. This race was really difficult and really confounding to me because you have horses who've never been 2 turns. You have horses who've never won grade 1 stakes. Horses mostly horses of the same style. Horses that there's really only one horse that has. It was like I said, this one was really a difficult race for me. There was even a horse who's coming in from Golden Gate whose best races are on synthetic, and I honestly couldn't make heads or tails of it. I will give you my opinions, but Rich, please do me a favor and put down the all button for me in this spot. I could not make much heads or tails of it, but I will give you some handicapping rationale if you cannot or will not go deep and go an all burger with this spot. I guess my top choice would have to be the horse on the inside, the 1 Someday Soon. The 2 other speed horses drew on the outside. I think this horse is going to be on the lead. She's going to be able to save ground. It's her 3rd start off the layoff. Again, not really a very strong opinion. It's the 3rd in the cycle. Like I said, get a ground saving trip. Don't know much about the connections. I know Jose Lescano used to be on the number 2 horse Elate, and is not on Elate this time. And I kind of wonder if it had something to do with the ride last time out. I'll get to that in a second. My second choice in the race, the horse I really liked the most in the race is the morning line favorite, the 6 Daddy's Little Darling, for Kenny McPeak and Robbie Alvarado. And what I did this week was watch a lot of video, and I watched all of Daddy's Little Darling's last 4 races, and it seems like she's been in trouble or had terrible posts and been wide in every start since the Pocahontas at Churchill. So I don't really know what to make of her, but again, she's another deep closer in a race that has some speed, but it's not the strongest speed. And generally, I don't necessarily like to bet deep closers, even at Keeneland. Not that you can't win from the back, but given the type of race and who's in the race, I don't know exactly how it's going to shake out. I don't know where the horses that have been going 1 turn, where are they going to be? Are they going to be close up? Are they going to be far back like they usually are? So I couldn't make heads or tails of it. The other horse I liked a little bit was Elate, the number 2 at 7-2 for Billy Mott and Jose Ortiz. Maybe the trouble, she did have a little bit of trouble at the beginning and forced her to the back of the pack. And maybe Mott was upset with Lescano for not persevering with her earlier in the race, or maybe he waited too long and she did get up for 3rd, but she was a well-beaten 3rd. So obviously Jose Ortiz gets aboard. That's an upgrade. Nothing against Jose Lescano. But again, this race was really, really difficult for me to fathom. So instead of trying to make lemonade out of lemons, if I'm going to make lemonade out of lemons, the best way for me to do it is to hit the all button. So I'm going with everybody in this spot. So at least our hit rate won't take a dive by me picking a bad horse. So I'm going 7 deep here. Keno ticket, call it what you want. I like I said, I don't really have a strong opinion. So I'm kind of hoping the favorites fall flat on their faces and the long shot would win and make this pick 4 worth having. Ray, what is up in the next leg at Aqueduct?
All right, we have the grade 2 Gazelle. It's for 3-year-old fillies going a mile and an 1/8. Also, most likely on the Kentucky Oaks Trail. The winner, second place winner, should go there. I have the same feeling as you in this race. We have 9 entries, and I'm using 6 of them, so it's very close. We'll start with number 4, Lockdown. Because like you said, excuse me, many of these have never been this far. You don't know what to expect. You just have to go by breeding, just go by running style, maybe or trainer how they train and stuff. Just the first time two-turn races are usually the hardest to handicap because you just don't know what you're gonna get. I do like Lockdown number 4. He's 5-1. She's a 2 out of 3 winner, and she won the Busanda on the inner track. And Carmouche been riding well here. She's one of the top jockeys, and Billy Mott always handles 3-year-old fillies and just fillies in general very well. So, and this horse is speedy type. So this horse fits the track profile. Usually in Aqueduct, the two-turn races, speed does well. I mean, they almost, they usually do very well. I mean, not to say that they always win, but they run. The track does help with the tight turns. So I do like number 4. I do like number 1. I mean, how can you not like this name? Yorkie Poo Princess. I mean, this is something you would name a cat, I think. um, this horse is actually good. I mean, she's one of 3 straight, going long, going short. The last 4 times Ortiz has been on her, she has won, and convincingly too. I mean, these are like overnight stake races in Aqueduct. I mean, they're personally good, so, but they're like ungraded stake races. The feature races usually of the day, and she has won well in them. This is a step up in class. The low figures usually come from the inner track, so I mean, the main track should produce a little faster figure. She draws nicely in the rail, and I ride Ortiz rides for Eddie Barker, who's usually a finger legs trainer, so he's coming down here to run this horse. And a great too for I'd say, but this race is for $300,000, so that's a pretty good chunk change. I do like the 5, the favorite, Miss Sky Warrior. We spoke about this horse in the previous shows that she's been beat up by everybody, and she has been. She's won her 4 straight. I mean, she's won the Tempted, the Dembourgeois, and the Devonadale in nice, handy fashion. Um, some tickets would have her as a single, but I'm gonna try and beat her with other horses. I mean, although she will be on my ticket. She's won 3 greater stakes, and she's 2 for 2 in the main track. And she does have the advantages of experience in this race, so take a little note of that. Paco Lopez is riding. He's coming in to ride for the day, and this horse should be up, speed type on the pace too. I do like number 2, Full House. This is a long shot, 10-1. This horse was second to Yoki Poo Princess in the Busher. She actually led briefly in that race, and she stepped it up in class. First race on the main track. She should like it. She's been working out well. With Rajiv Mirage with Jimmy Jokins, they should get a nice trip on the inside. Late third or fourth, and see what happens. This is a upper class test for this horse, but the odds are good, so I'm gonna include this horse. I do like number 8, North End at the end. This horse just broke the maiden at a state bred level. This is a milk bred. She drew off at a mile with a good speed figure, and Chad Brown, Javier Castellano, you can't ignore them in the big races. And this horse has good form, and she should improve. I mean, she lacks experience, but she should improve off of that race. Going back to the main track. And I do like number 9, Stefan. I'm going to include him. A Rapole homebred. Mike Rapoli, king of vitamin water. For Pletcher, this horse is out of state thirsty. You guys, this is like, this horse could win all day, Bernardini. So she broke her maiden in the mile. The last part of the race was pretty quick. If you see that late pace, 102, that's pretty fast. So, I mean, I do like to see that when the horse finishes well. And Pletcher, Johnny V, Velasquez, 8-1 is a good price. And, this horse could go on. So those are my picks there, guys. Taquito ticket time. 6 of them. 4, 1, 5, 2, 8, and 9. You got that? 4, 1, 5, 2, 8, and 9. All right, Rich. So Santa Anita and your third leg.
I do. All right, here I come. Should have been prepared for at least one leg of a Keno ticket from Ray there. So. All right. So, yeah, here we go. I can't comment because I almost put it in my first leg tonight.
Okay. Yeah.
Here we go. And we are coming back to Santa Anita, and it is for, if I'm not mistaken, 10. We are on race number 10. This is 6.5 furlongs on the main track. It's the Echo Eddie Stakes. Purse is $200,000 for Golden State Series eligible Cal-bred or Cal-sired 3-year-olds. 9 starters, and your morning line favorite starts from post number 2. Cal-bred, Cal-sired. California Diamond, trained by Pete Miller and ridden by Norberto Arroyo Jr., is 5-2 on the Santa Anita morning line. Alrighty, and this was another tough race for me here. I did end up going 3 deep once again in this race. I did not eat the chalk, but I could not discard him at the same time. I settled on Green with Eddie, which is the number 6 horse here. Redham Racing, Doug O'Neill, Mario Gutierrez. Redham Racing still in the hunt for the owner's title here as Santa Anita comes into its final days for that spring-winter meeting. So Paul Redham and, of course, Doug O'Neill, I think that's his best client. So he got Mario Gutierrez on the horse, and the horse is 2 for 4 so far, has actually won a small, the graduation stakes back in August 2016 as a 2-year-old at Del Mar. And then first try in 2017 in March, you see there, was on a hot pace early and kind of faded. I'm willing to give some forgiveness there and say this was the goal of this race all along was the Echo Eddie stake. So I will go with Green with Eddie, Square Eddie product. The horse was actually supposed to be on the Triple Crown Trail, so you can see Doug O'Neill got a little bit of a late start with this one. I think he's ready. So I will go ahead and take a shot at knocking off the favorite here. The favorite is a tough horse to knock off. California Diamond is one of those horses that just he likes to win. He's got 10 starts in his lifetime. He's won 5 of them. 5 times he's finished second. You don't see that very often in this day anymore. It's a Pete Miller horse. It's Pete Miller and Roberto Arroyo. That is, believe it or not, that is the number 1 jockey combination of a sizable meeting, unless you're looking at Bob Baffert, Mike Smith kind of combinations. But Pete Miller and Roberto Arroyo at 47% for a sizing of 30 races. That's the best combination you can get at Santa Anita right now. So a lot of people don't know that. They are a very hot combination, and they're on a hot horse. The horse has had 5 starts at Santa Anita. He's won 4 of them. He's finished second once. So take your chances if you're taking your chances if you leave the 8 off of your ticket. And you see there, it doesn't happen with me very often where you see dual check marks, right? You see Green with Eddie, and then down beneath, I actually went back with Elwood J. Again, just taking a couple of shots at that favorite. I'm imagining that California Diamond's going to be a very short price on that Santa Anita morning line tomorrow. And so I decided to take a second shot here. This is Hollendorfer and Pratt. And if you're not looking at the Norberto Arroyo Peter Miller combination, then you might want to take a look at Sherry Hollendorfer, Flavio and Pratt, because they hit 36% together with a sizing of 25. And this horse has been very solid. They actually switched him to turf in the last 2 races. He didn't disgrace himself. Conquest Fahrenheit is a very, very solid horse, and so is Law Abiding Citizen. But they're moving him back to the dirt, which is where he belongs. So I would use the 6, the 8, and the 9. I would use all 3 of those in my pick 4 ticket. So let me get our scorecard up to date here, and I will come on back to you guys. Hang on 1 second. 6. We've got the 8. And we have the 9. All right. And come on back. And I believe this is what we got so far. And again, Mr. English went bold in that last leg, and he's lit up the all button in leg number 3. That's actually 7 connections, just if you're wondering. Not too far behind him is Mr. Torado on his Keno machine, and he's got the 4 as his top selection, but then 1, 5, 2, 8, 9. And in leg 3, I'm not going to brag. I am building out one of my typical tickets there. I'm 3 deep, and I've got the 6 as my top selection. I've got the 8, and I've got the 9 kind of as my backup top selection. But since you can't have 2 top selections, I've got the 6 as my top selection with 8 and 9 as my backups. All right. I'm coming back, and I am going to hand it over one final time. Take us into the finale, Mr. English.
Thanks, Rich. Obviously, the featured race of the day at Keeneland is the Toyota Bluegrass, a Grade 2, which will not be a Grade 2 for long, given this field for $1 million. As Ray said, 100 Kentucky Derby points to the winner, 40 for second, 20 for third, 10 for fourth. And this year, those Derby points may prove valuable. I mean, I guess we'll see in about 4 weeks. You realize, guys, the Derby is only 4 weeks away. It's really awesome. It's getting close, and if you're not excited, you should be. Given that, and I don't remember if we talked about this earlier, our budget constraints for our Pick-4s are $50. If you watch the show consistently, you know that. So if you figured it out already, you already know I have 84 combinations. So I can't go any deeper than one in this spot. And given, I was looking at this earlier, this is a race unlike any other I think we've seen this year. All 7 of these horses have placed or won stakes in 2017. I don't think you can say that about any other 3-year-old prep until this point, and you're not going to be able to say it about any of the 3-year-old preps coming up, because not the Arkansas Derby, not the Lexington, and I believe there's one other 3-year-old prep, but that escapes me at the moment. But this race is really difficult and really difficult to single. But I think Rich actually stole my thunder about 20 minutes ago when he said something about every Todd Pletcher runner should be singled right now. So that's, again, you stole my thunder. So I'm taking the 4. I'm going with Tappert to win in this spot. Son of Tappert seems to be getting better. And the reason I like him is because I think he's got a little bit more tactical speed than both McCracken and Practical Joke. And I think he's going to get first run. Itcher Nickel is probably going to be on the lead. It could very well be Wild Shot and IRAP on the outside, pressing that horse. Again, I'm not sure how good Itcher Nickel is, and it could be that Itcher Nickel pulls the upset. It's I guess in this Triple Crown season, pretty much everything's possible, given that Gervin is the only horse to have won 2 preps so far. But I just think Tappert's coming to hand right now, and everything that Pletcher sends out, like Rich said earlier, you have to account for it, and he has to be singled. And I don't hate McCracken, and it's funny because I'll have another pulled this same exact stunt. I guess it was 3 years ago when, well, he didn't pull a stunt. They decided not to run the horse in March. He ran in February, did not run in March, ran in April and May. And it may work out for McCracken in the long run. And the only fear I have about McCracken is that McCracken only has 20 Derby points. And it was one of the things I factored into when I made this pick, that Tappert really doesn't. He has 53 points, and he probably does not need to get any more points to get into the Derby. McCracken needs points. I don't think I'm not sure 20 is going to get you in this year. Again, we'll see how it shakes out over time. But I think McCracken needs to finish at least 3rd to get 20. If he gets to 40, I think he's pretty safe. But I think Ian Wilkes is going to have him cranked. Again, I just don't know that the pace setup is really perfect for him, and he's been off for a little while. So maybe he's a little short, and maybe since Tappert gets first run, he has the advantage. He has more recency on his side. So I went with Tappert. I mean, heck, how can you fault a horse that the trainer's name is Todd A. Pletcher, T-A-P, and the horse's first 3 letters of his name, T-A-P. I know it's by Tappert, and it really has nothing to do with the fact that Pletcher has the horse. But it just happens to be one more thing I could throw out there. So for me, it's the 4 Tappert. It also helps that he's not the morning line favorite. Something tells me that these odds will be closer to 9-5 and 2-1 when they hit post time, because Pletcher is so hot. But McCracken is the local, trained by the local trainer. So I'm guessing you'll see 9-5, 8-5, 9-5 on McCracken, and around 2-1 on Tappert. And I think they'll be closer than that, only because of the circumstances surrounding it. But again, I'm going 1 deep. I'm singling Tappert. I'm hoping I can stay alive to get to the point where, like the last 2 weeks, we've been 3 for 3. I'm hoping to be 3 for 3 and single to Tappert. And I hope history doesn't repeat itself with Gunnavara last week to Tappert this week. So Ray, I will hand it off to you. And I know the finale is not a stakes race, and that was a bone of contention with you. and I really wish it was a fourth stake race for you, but give us the winner of that maiden race in the finale.
I tell you, they threw me a curveball here. But it's a race, and we do our best to handicap it. Um, and let's see what happens. We have a 6.5 furlong maiden special weight for New York State Breds, 3 years and up, and the purse is 55,000. I hope this leg doesn't kill me, but I can. I'm looking to go 3 deep here. Right now we have 5 horses, so we don't know scratches. We have to figure out. We have 2 entries here. I do like the number 1 entry. Actually, I like number 1 Broken Engagement horse. I think he's a stronger part of the entry. The other horse is unraced, Super Luke. But I'll talk about Broken Engagement. He ran first out and closed a little bit, finished fifth. Finished second by 5. And he earned a decent figure. He switches to John Velasquez. It's a Rudy Rodriguez horse from Michael Dubb, who's one of the top trainers here in Aqueduct. And they're 2-1. If Super Luke runs, it helps my chances because Super Luke's a first-time starter. And the barn is actually Chad Brown. Did 25% with first time debuting. Actually, 21%. 25% main special weights with Castellano. So if you get Castellano and John Velasquez in an entry, you're in good shape. So it depends whether the scratches are. So, but I do like Broken Engagement number 1. I do like the other entry, the 2 entry. They're actually 10-1. I do like Uncle T-Bone. He's a number 2 horse. Jeremy Engelhardt. They raced in Belmont in June on a turf, on a sprint, and the horse was fully placed, and the comments just broke out in the lunge and stretch. So he just tired and he finished 4th by 11. I'll give him a chance. They've been working out, going back to the dirt. He's been working out on the dirt. So, little layoff, maybe got bigger, stronger, 3-year-old. Is a good price. The other horse of the entry, I mentioned because he's part of the entry also, Gwick. This horse has raced 5 times, has 1 second, just missed by a nose last time, in the maiden claiming state bred. So he's actually moving up now in class, back to the state breds. He was the maiden claiming, but he raced well. I mean, he does have experience on the main track. He finished 4th by 7, another state bred. So this horse, he's most likely the lesser of the entry. So I do like number 2, if he stays. I do like number 3, Built to Suit. I'm sorry, he's 3-1. This is a first timer. Chad Brown, Dominus, Smart Strike, Clavis Stables, one horses. There's a good connection there. I rather Tease picks up the mount, so he's been working out. Nice couple breezes in Belmont train track, and he's actually more like 3-1. So those would be my 3 entries: the 1, the 2, and the 3. And depending on who gets scratched after. But right now, those would be my picks: 1, 2, and 3, with
It's like
5 horses.
It's like the combination to your luggage.
Yeah.
The password on his computer.
Password. Yonkers trifecta. Don't forget that too. Sometimes that happens also. 1, 2, 3.
Yonkers
All right.
awesome.
Rich, your last leg and Santa Anita.
I can see your maiden special weight, and I'll raise you a maiden claiming event if
Okay. All right.
But those are your favorite, Rich. Come on.
These are state breds. They talk highly of New York State breds sometimes.
Yeah, Rich. New York State breds. I don't know if that trumps claimers in Southern California. It's close.
It's close. Yeah,
It's close.
It's a bob, right?
Yeah, exactly. If one nose goes up, the other goes down.
I'm sure they were 9 to win, so.
I would like it noted that the combined purses for this final leg between all 3 of us put together is $1,088,000. So.
Okay, all right. Joe get the big one.
I got lucky.
Yeah,
we got lucky there.
All right, bringing it home from Santa Anita. It is race number 11. It's 1 mile on the turf. Maiden claiming $75,000. Purse is $33,000 for maiden, 3-year-olds and upward. 12 starters, and your morning line favorite at 7-2 is in post number 9. This is Kaye Kingpin, trained by Mike Pipey and ridden by Stuart Elliott. And let me bring this up for you, and I will get us going here. Oops. Let's see, who did I pick on this race? Okay, this was a very tough race. And this was one of those ones, again, where I had considered blowing up the first race, which was the Santa Anita Derby. I could not resist on this one, as you saw before. I was only up to, I believe, 18 options so far, so I had a few bullets left to fire in my gun, and I wasn't going to leave them out on Santa Anita Derby Day. So I did end up settling on a 0 for 8 maiden in a maiden claiming event. And Joe brought this up, that I do love the maiden claiming. However, Joe will even bring this up for you. I really like the very, very, very bottom of the maiden claiming. Maiden claiming 30, maiden claiming 20. And I like dirt, and I use like 5.5 or 6 furlongs. So this one, unfortunately, this is a little bit of an elitist maiden claiming affair. Maiden claiming 75,000, I like to say, is for those people who really don't want to lose their horses. And this is a turf race, so again, you know, kind of have your pinky up in the air when you're drinking your tea if you like the turf racing versus the dirt racing. So this isn't my specialty, but I am better off at maiden claiming than I am in any other races. So I did settle on a horse that's 0 for 8, so he's right up my alley in maiden claiming 75,000, and that's Go Ghetto. And let me make sure I've got the I got that up there. Okay, and I liked Go Ghetto for early speed type there. This is, again, you saw me bring it up a little bit earlier, the scary new face from another place. Now, this horse has had one try here in Southern California so far. It was a race down the hill, and the hill is the hill is the hill is the hill. The Santa Anita Hill course can be a little bit of a treacherous one. This horse actually finished second to a bit of a specialist on the Southern Keys horse that he finished second to here. Really likes the hill. I think he's like 2 for 3 or 2 for 4 on the hillside turf. So no disgracing getting beaten by 3/4 of a length. That was off of a layoff. The last time we had seen the horse was back on September the 10th when we, the 3 boat guys, were handicapping that same day at Kentucky Downs. So that was off the layoff. Second off the layoff, second start with the trainer for Mike McCarthy. You're getting Flavian Pratt. He is probably the best turf race rider here at Santa Anita. As I've said multiple times tonight, he's closing in on the jockey title, so he's the best jockey at the meet. So I decided to go with the 0 for 8 maiden. But I wasn't going to leave it there. I couldn't throw out the favorite here. That was the Kaye Kingpin horse. Doesn't get a whole lot of check marks on there. You got Mike Pipey, you've got Stuart Elliott. And the horse has some experience going this far. Finished second and is dropping. So dropping from the maiden special weight down to the maiden 75. It's not as big a drop as you get in some other categories where you're dropping from maiden special weight. Like I said, the maiden 75 technically is for owners who really just don't want to lose their horses. So I did have Kaye Kingpin in there. I believe I also have Fregosi. This is Leonard Powell, Tyler Bays. The horse had an attempt down the hillside turf course. It was that same race that Go Ghetto was in, and it was the first start, put up a decent speed figure, has got Tyler Bays, who is the rider who is chasing Flavian Pratt for the riding title, who's here. Leonard Powell knows what he's doing with the turf horses, so I had Fregosi in there. South American, again, talking about trainers who know what they're doing with turf horses, Neil Drysdale, Norberto Arroyo Jr. This horse actually went 1 mile and 1/8 the last time, 9 furlongs. In a fairly decent race. Bobby G, Panama Papers, those are some good horses. As you see, prior to that, the maiden race, even though it didn't do so well, that's Royal Mo and Sonneteer. So this horse has got some nice running lines that are in there. So I like South American as well. And in the end, I ended up going 5 deep in this race. I went 2, 3, 5, 6, and 9. Let me get those into our scorecard and page 2, 3, 5, 6, 9, and I do believe my top pick is that 3. Let me come on back to you guys. Sorry about that. Hello, everybody. And I will share the final product from Pick-4 Wars. All right. So starting us off over on the left-hand side of the screen there for Kentucky, Joe English handicapping the Keeneland Pick-4. In leg 1, he's got the 3, the 2, and the 7. In leg number 2, and I'm sorry, his top pick in that is the 3. In leg number 2, he's got the 7 as his top pick. He also has the 8, the 5, and the 4. In leg 3, Joe hit the all button. And in leg 4, he went with his single for the night, and he's got the 4, Todd Pletcher's horse. And I believe, Joe, what's your total ticket there? 6 times 3?
42.
$42. Thank you, sir.
Welcome.
Here, hang on one second. $42 for Mr. English. Over here in the middle, handicapping Aqueduct. Ray Torado starts off in leg number 1. He's got the 8, the 4, and the 2. And again, the 8 is his top selection there. Ray's single is also a Todd Pletcher candidate. This is Battalion Runner in the Wood Memorial in leg number 2. That's the 3. Ray fired up his Keno machine in leg number 3. He's got the 4, the 1, the 5, the 2, the 8, and the 9 with the 4 as his top selection. And in leg number 4, he's got 3. He's got the 1, the 2, and the 3. It's also the password to his computer. It's the combination to his luggage. The 1 is the top selection there for Mr. Torado. Ray, what do you got there? You got 3 times?
I think it's 27.
$27. So Ray's even saving you a few bucks tonight. $27. And over here in the final leg of us, Rich Sharp covering Santa Anita Pick-4. I start off in leg number 1, went 3 deep. I've got the 9, the 8, and the 6. The 9 is my top pick. In leg number 2, I just went 2 deep, and I've got the 1 and the 8 with the 1 as my top pick. In leg number 3, I also went 3 deep. I've got the 6, the 8, and the 9 with the 6 as my top pick. And in leg number 4, I went 5 deep. Almost went with the Keno machine as well. And I've got the 2, the 3, the 5, the 6, and the 9. And I've got the 3 as my top pick. And if I am not mistaken, I believe my final pick 4 there is $45.
Mm-hmm. That's correct.
All right. Everybody got a good look there? All right, gentlemen. Well, I want to thank both of you. That's actually, I brought this up at the beginning. We normally handicap as a team. This is really an enjoyable experience for me. It kind of gives us that opportunity. And I was wondering if I could ask Joe possibly to go ahead and maybe put out there one of those Twitter polls and see if there's anybody who's watching the show or anybody who catches the show and wants to check us up at the 3 Broke Guys Handicapping and see whose Pick-4 do you like the best?
Absolutely. You know what? That's a great idea, Rich. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do that before I hit the hay, right? As soon as we're done with the show.
So if you'd like to follow us, and we are at 3 Broke Guys Handicapping, or 3 Broke Guys in Twitter, in the Twitter sphere. You can also find Joe English at Joe English 16 or Ray Torado at Ray Rock 4, and myself at Zuma Point. And Joe will get through a poll, so you can go ahead and let us know what you think of the Pick-4s tonight, and which one do you like? So again,
I want to play all of them.
Yeah, you get Joe and Keeneland, you got Ray and
all of them.
I will share with all of you. I am still out of work looking for a job. I'll be playing all of them tomorrow.
I'm trying to build up a bankroll for California, so here we go. I'm playing all of them.
You're still the only one who's the plus there, sir. So you should be okay. You should be doing all right for the. Hey, Rich, I know we're really short on time, but can I mention one thing? I actually had a chance to look at there's a race tomorrow at not tomorrow, Sunday, at Keeneland. It's an allowance race on the turf, and there are 3 names that at least 2 of them I know will be familiar to you guys. Again, this is a Keeneland allowance race on the turf. In this race, Kaigan.
Oh,
wow.
Divisadero.
Oh,
and Take the Stand, as well as Flatlined, Pluven, and Thatcher won stakes or we've discussed on this show. Again, this is a Keeneland allowance race on Sunday. It's race 7. I just happened to be looking through the entries for Keeneland on Sunday, and I saw this race, and I said, holy crap, that'd be a stakes race on most cards. And heck, Rich, the card that we saw at Santa Anita a couple weeks ago, that would have been the feature by about 3 miles.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, before I let everybody go,
Derby.
I did have one message, right? And I would be remiss if I did not wish my good friend Joe English a happy anniversary. So Joe celebrated his 19th wedding anniversary. Joe is married, for anybody who was one of the Connection for Three Broke guys. He is married to my best friend in the world. It's Denise English, and there is my beautiful friend Denise and Joe. I cannot believe that you guys have been married for 19 years. So congratulations.
Thank you, Rich. I just love my wife's comment, by the way. It only feels like 190. I look pretty damn good for 190.
Listen, I have a question. It was Saturday day. I know I was there at what was that, Malibu? It was a nice place.
Marina Del Rey.
Marina Del Rey, yes. And Saturday Derby slipped us by. I'm trying to remember who won that race. Do you remember?
It was 1998.
Oh wow.
Wow.
Just wondering.
That was like around. Oh, you know what? I think I do remember who won that race, if I remember right, because funny story. That was the first year. Actually, I'm trying to remember. No, that's not true. 1996 was Freehouse Silver Charm. I want to say was Larry the Legend around that time too. Honestly, I don't remember. Let's just put it this way. It was a long time ago.
Yeah.
But the interesting story about it is that when I met my wife, the first 2 years we were together, I actually hit the Derby winner, exacta, and trifecta, which was great. It was like, yeah, if I can do this, I would have got married. If I could do this every year, I got married a long time ago.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, it hasn't worked out that well. I'm still ahead, I think, from all of that. But
Yeah,
I think.
But
Thank you for the kind words, Rich. That's really nice. I wasn't expecting that. That's a surprise.
Yeah. It was a nice day too. It was a beautiful day. We had a great time.
It was lovely. Hey, we got a new follower.
I just noticed that.
Awesome. All right. Anyway,
Rich, I don't remember you from that day, but now that I know you now, I'm blessed to have known you for 19 years.
I know. It's amazing.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
All right. For those of you watching, if you enjoyed the show, we will be back next week because that's what the Three Broke guys do. We're going to get together and take a look at another exciting card. It's Arkansas Derby, and kind of it's your last chance to punch your ticket to the big dance on the first Saturday in May. So Arkansas Derby next week. All right, gentlemen, that's all the time we have for tonight. It's always a pleasure to handicap with the two of you.
Yes, this was
fun. This week was even more challenging and definitely worth the time.
Absolutely. For Joe English and Ray Torado, I'm Rich Sharp. Thank you for watching Three Broke Guys Handicapping. Good luck and good night.
Good night.
Good night.